Hi everyone, Luke Davids here. Welcome to the first video in a series of videos where I'm going to be bringing you guys a weekly dose of songwriting. Each video will have some knowledge and some practical formulas and techniques that you can implement in your own writing. A lot of the info here will be in line with some other resources I have available, like the 3-day songwriting workshop, the 5-day songwriting challenge that I just launched, and the full online songwriting course, Song School. You can check those out in the links in the description. So let's dive into this first video where we'll break a song down into its 5 key elements. These are the building blocks of a song, and our goal as songwriters is to utilize these elements in a synergistic way where they all fit together perfectly like a jigsaw puzzle. Each element has a unique role to play, and they each have their own goals that we'll talk about today. The 5 key elements are song structure, groove, chord progression, melody, and lyrics. Song structure is the way all of the sections of a song are arranged, and the goal of the song structure is to keep the song moving so that there's no time for the listener to get bored. There are a few ways you can do that. One of them is to follow song structures that have become standard over time, like the one we'll be covering next week, the typical pop song structure, as they do a really good job of achieving that goal. The second element is groove, and groove is the rhythmic basis of a song, and the goal is to provide a foundation for the rest of the elements to build upon. This is often the least thought about but most viscerally felt element, and when a song starts is really the groove that makes you decide whether you're going to stay and listen or not. The third element, chord progression, is the types of chords you use and the order you use them in, and the goal of the chord progression is to harmonically support the melody without getting in the way. So the chord progression is kind of like the support beams for the melody. And personally, I really like writing super fancy, over-the-top, complex chord progressions, but it's not always the best approach. If you err on the side of simplicity in your chord progressions, it's gonna make it easier to stay out of the way of the melody, which is really the true goal. The fourth element, melody, in pop music is gonna be whatever notes the vocalist is singing, and the goal of the melody is to emotionally move the listener. You could say that the goal of songwriting in general is to emotionally move the listeners, but it's really the melody that does most of the heavy lifting in that arena. And so in the coming weeks, we'll be talking about some ways you can improve on your melody writing. Then lyrics, of course, are the words of the song, and the goal of the lyrics are to create a personal connection with the listener. Now let's have a look at how all of these pieces come together to create a song. I love visual analogies, so let's use the analogy of building a house. So first off, we have song structure, which is the framework of the house. It's the packaging of all of the other elements. Then we have the groove, which, as you can see, is the foundation. And the role of the foundation is often overlooked and is only really noticed when it isn't doing its job. But groove is a critical piece of great songwriting, and making sure you have a solid groove is going to assure that all of the other elements have something stable to build upon. After the groove, we have the chord progression. And the groove and the chord progression work together to create a stable basis for the next element, which is the melody. I try to make melody stand out in the visual as it's really the focal point of the song. Ultimately, all of the elements exist to serve the melody. If the melody is the lead singer of the band, all of the other elements are members of the backup band. Still a crucial part, but ultimately there to serve the lead singer. And in the same way, all of the other elements should aim to enhance and support whatever the melody is doing. Then lastly, we have the lyrics, which are very much intertwined with the melody. As you can see, they're balancing on top of the melody, and ultimately you're going to be subject to whatever the melody is doing. So there you have it, the 5 key elements of a song. Tune into next week's video where we'll take a closer look at song structure and talk about a formula that's used in the majority of pop songs that you can use to help your song structure shine. If you want more songwriting resources, be sure to check out the links in the description, and please comment, like, and share this video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.